Man, Shinto is thirsty. Look at that dude.
Hello everyone, this is an analysis of the set Flame of the Laevateinn for the Sword class. For any other classes, you can find them in the playlist. Alright guys, let's start off with our first card. I'd like to remind you guys that I won't be reading card effect word by word. You guys can read it on the screen because that will take too long of a time. But I will be summarizing the card effect, what I like about the card, the pros and the cons, and how I see these cards standing in the meta. So first of all, we got the Cinderella, the fairy tale legendary for sword. 7 mana 5/5 with Storm is a big Storm follower, that's for sure. And it's a very strong tempo card because when you strike, you can remove a fairy tale counter from this card. You can summon a 5 cost or less follower from the top 4 of your deck. And this in turn can give you a very, very big board and a very good tempo turn. And that's what I like about this card because it fits very nice into the fairy tale tempo game plan. And I can for sure foresee this as a very, very good very, very good card for sword. Is it the strongest card in the set? Definitely not. That gift is the Beauty and the Beast, but I think it's still strong enough where the cards you can summon, you have young Ogre Hunter Momo, and you also have Saber from BPO1. So these two cards can actually gain you a lot of tempo. Next, Villian Fencer, 3 mana 2/2. It's very, very weak base stats. And the conditional evolve is very, very specific. You need to have 2 or less cards in your hand. So I guess Hero is looking to be like an aggro deck. So unless you're playing Demonic Securum, which is from BPO2, Demonic Simulacrum, which discard a card from your hand. I don't think you are able to evolve this very early on. But this is one of the most broken evolve I ever seen for the stats and the evolve ability. First of all, for one evolve, you get +3/+3 stats. That is unheard of. Like, usually for one evolve, it should be a +1/+1 stat. For 2 evolve, it should be +2/+2 stats. But for one evolve, you get +3/+3 stat. That is out of the world. It is a searcher where you play this, you do get a hero card, which kind of hurt itself because you do want to reduce the cards in hand. I would rather have the searcher on other cards and give it more stats. But the evolve effect, right? You can cheat the evolve effect of another follower. You can cheat out the costly evolve of another hero follower. Mainly you have the sorry, give me one moment. Mainly is Amero Spear Knight, which you want to cheat the effect out from. Which his evolve costs 3. So this card combos very well with the Spear Knight. And how do I feel about this card? Is as an aggro deck, right? I was hoping that he has a much better stats. I don't mind being a 3 mana 3/3 and evolve still becomes a 5/5. But the base stat is very, very weak, which makes me kind of wonder if this card should be played on turn 3. I guess this card is good if when you are, trying to clutch out the situation where you are already down on hand size. When you play this, you are able to draw a card to ensure that your hand just doesn't dies out without any hand resource. But yeah, I don't think this is a turn 3 play. It's more of a turn 4, turn 5 play where you start to have very less hand size, and that is when you'll be good. So I can see this being played. I think it's definitely a trade-off in the hero deck, but how many people will be playing this hero deck is another question. Yeah. So next we have Macy, Red Riding Hood. 2 mana 1/1. Very cheap hard removal, very, very strong. And in order to gain the fairy tale counter, right? Unlike the Liliac, this is a lot easier to hit, where you just need to have a fairy tale follower on the board. The only problem is the wake stats is just a 2 mana 1/1, but you just imagine, for 3 mana is a hard remover. Better than execution, better than delay. I think this card is very, very strong, and I think we're gonna see it being played in fairy tale. But of course, the same thing, you're not gonna see a 3 off, but most likely you'll see a 2 off in a deck, because that's how cheap and strong this card is. Okay, so next we have Amero Spear Knight. This is the expensive evolve hero follower I was talking about. 3 mana evolve, broken as hell. But the evolve ability is quite strong. So when you evolve, you can summon a hero card from your graveyard. So hero is very combo-y. For this one, right, you want to summon Knight, which will gain Storm if it is summoned anywhere other from hand. But I think this card is not that good, especially as an aggro deck, you know. First of all, 2 mana 2/2. The stat is alright, where, you know, most of the class right now is 2 mana 3/2 or 2 mana 2/3. But you do gain +1/+1 if you strike if there's a ally hero follower on the field. But yeah, you just don't really. Yeah, hero is looking up to be a very slow aggro deck. But yeah, if he does combo off, he can do pretty well. I think definitely you will see. Well, oh, this card I don't know. I'm not very sure if you see a 3 off. I think you still see a 3 off because there's a lack of hero cards. But I don't think hero will be played much in the meta. Next we have Castle in the Sky. A 2 mana amulet is a searcher for a generic storm. It can buff, attack for a storm follower for free. Basically, you just have to act this amulet and put it into the graveyard. And it acts as a win condition. So this card can be a win con for the decks. So basically, we kind of can play a control for us. So this card with Leonidas, I guess. What I don't like about this card is that it's the expensive cost for the win condition. It's 10 mana. And 10 mana is meaning that you can't play this on your turn 10 and try to win the game. You have to set this out, meaning that it's vulnerable to removal. And it's not a very strong win condition because the ability really depends on your hand to have storm followers. You can't summon non-storm followers. And if there's any ward in your way, you have no more mana to clear them. So yeah, I think this card won't be played much. I think it's too gimmicky to be played in the meta. I don't really think that this card will be good. Yeah, that's my feel of it. So let's go on to the next card. Young Ogre Hunter Momo. This card is damn good. 4 mana 5/5, direct attack. Potential ability to gain rush if there's another ally fairy tale follower in play. And strike if you hit a follower with 5 or less defense. You can draw a card and discard a card. Basically, you can fix your hand. So what I like about this card is it can remove Dawa and Voka. That's what I like about this card. You can remove Dawa or Voka even after they got buff. Buff 1 time, not 2 time, yeah. So if the first time they get buff, you can remove them. And you can fix your hand, meaning that you can dig out for Cinderella if you want to search for it. And it combos very well with Cinderella. So basically, imagine your Cinderella activate effect and you get Young Ogre Momo. It's just going to gain rush instantly. And it's going to clear the field. It's going to help you clear a threat on the field. So this card is very, very good in my opinion. Definitely will see play. I think every Fairy Tale sword will be playing 3 of this. Let's move on to the next one. Knight. So 3 mana 3/3. It comes into field from anywhere other than your hand. Gain Storm. It have a evolve one. It does have an evolve at 1 cost. And when you evolve, you can deal 2 damage to enemy follower. If you have 2 or more hero, it deals 4. So basically, it is a good remover against Ward before it storms the face. However, it kind of need quite a lot of setup for Storm. Either you get it out from Amero Spear Knight, which the evolve can be very costly unless Amero Spear Knight evolve is triggered by Villian Fencer. Or you have to play the another card, Heroic Entry, from this set as well to gain Storm. Do note that if this is summoned from Cinderella, it also gains Storm. But at that point, why would you want to play Mag Knight when you can play Novice Trooper, which gains Storm nevertheless? It doesn't break in your hand. So yeah, I think this card in the hero you'll see play, but other than that, not really. It's quite a bad card to play on tempo as well. Actually, okay, sorry, not really. It is quite okay card because 3 mana. Let's say you got 2 hero in your graveyard. You pay 1 to evolve, you still get a 4/4, which is the 3 mana evolve special stats 4/4, which is going to be very strong, and you're able to deal 4 damage. Actually, this card is not bad on its own, but you do require the setup to have 2 hero in your graveyard, which I think isn't that hard if you're playing a pure hero deck. Yeah, so I think this card is a very good card for hero. Yeah, this card is very, very strong for hero. For tempo gain also. You definitely have 3 off in every hero deck. Next, Case of the Princess. 1 mana spell that can cost 0 if you have a princess card on the field. This combo very well with Rapunzel. Basically, you play Rapunzel, you give it a fairy tale counter. It's free. Free, I tell you. And you give +1 attack, making Rapunzel a 5/5. What I like about this card is yeah, it's free cost like I said, and the ability to replace itself for the second effect. So you can put back 3 Swordcraft follower in your graveyard, return them, and then draw a card, meaning that you can kind of refresh your graveyard, retrieve some resource from graveyard. At the same time, it replaces itself, meaning that you don't lose hand resource for playing this card. Yeah, so this card will be staple because a lot of the fairy tale card requires fairy tale counter. And yeah, this card is going to be a staple in Sword Fairy Tale. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, next we have Rabbit Ear Attendant, 3 mana, 3/4. Good stats. And it can draw if there's a fairy tale follower on the if there's an ally fairy tale follower on the field. Okay, the thing is, it has draw as good stats. This card is good, right? No. The main problem is that like I said with the okay, the main problem is that the 3 mana card pool is flooded with a lot of good cards, and I will say that Rabbit Ear Attendant just isn't as great as those cards. So that's where it fall off. So I highly doubt people will be playing this. Yeah, I don't think even Fairy Tail Sword will be playing this. In fact, I think it won't see any play, even though it can draw 1 and it has good stats. It's just that there's too many good 3 cost follower in the 3 mana card pool right now. With that, I think that's Rabbit Ear Attendant. Next, we have Old Man and Old Woman. 1 mana, 1/2 Bane. So the pros is that it's a Bane. Finally, we have a very cheap Bane for Sword, but it doesn't do anything when it comes into play. You have to give it. You have to find some way to give it Rush or Storm, like with Leonidas, Leonidas Resolve. But other than that, it's quite abysmal. Not gonna lie. But yeah, if you really need the Bane to remove like Narita Bryan or Beauty and the Beast, this card will be your go-to card. So this card will see play in a mana for very specific reason, and or else you won't see play at all. That's about it. Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. Bladed Hedgehog. One of my most favorite card in the digital version of the game becomes very bad right now. Spoilers. Okay, so for 2 mana 1/3 is very bad stats. But if your enemy follower is destroyed on your turn, you gain +1/+0 on your turn. Okay, that's even worse. So if opponent destroy their follower on their turn, it doesn't gain the buff. And then the thing is, the only good thing is that it double as a remover. The gain attack can't snowball right now. Once I read that it's only destroying your turn, you can't really snowball from the attack gain. It does double as a remover by dealing 2 damage, but it's not a very good remover. And the evolve cost is high. So imagine at 4 mana, you play this on turn. Okay, you play this for 2 mana and you evolve for 2. Dealing 2 damage ain't gonna do much. And even if you trade with 2 things, at 4 mana it becomes a 4/4 stats. If you trade with something like maybe a Bellringer, it becomes a 4/4 if it doesn't take damage. But if it takes damage, it becomes like a 4/1. So it really begs the question, like, is this even good? And you do have to remove 2 followers in order to get a 4+ stat. So if your evolve does not kill anything, it's just going to be a 2/4, which also is hard to kill anything at all. So I think this card is just bad and doesn't have any place in the fairy tale deck. Not gonna lie, this card is just so bad. Yeah, so this card won't see any play, I think. Yeah, very, very bad card. Okay, next we have Iron War Guard. Perfect guard for hero. Perfect card for hero because it's a aggro deck. It's a 1 mana 2/2 goblin. And the stats and the ward gain is just a plus in my opinion. So once you pass like turn 1, turn 2, turn 1, turn 2, where you start having 2 or more hero cards in your graveyard, summoning this as 1 mana 2/3 means that it can survive better, and the ward can block any storm your opponent might play. Pretty good card. You'll see a 3-off definitely in a hero deck. Okay, next, Heroic Entry. So 3 mana spell. Look at the top 4 of your deck. You can choose 1 to summon. A 3 or less play point Swordcraft follower. And if it's a hero, you gain +1/+1. You would want to combo this with Knight or Villian Fencer, or actually any of the hero is fine. But the best is Knight and Villian Fencer. But if you hit Floral Fencer, this is actually pretty good as well. So I think Floral Fencer will be played in the hero deck. I think Floral Fencer will be played in every sword deck. It's hard to run away from that card. And this card can summon Hero Fencer is actually quite cool. Yeah, so Heroic Entry I think will see play. Definitely a 3-off in the hero deck. But then again, hero doesn't have much card pool, so almost every card they have to play 3. And with that said, that's all for Swordcraft. I hope to see you guys next time.